The undisputed, undefeated retirement tag team is back. Joe
It's
and Duane.
it's
Hey, Joe.
exciting. Two bald guys talking retirement.
That's right. And FYI, for you moderate maniacs out there, we're in preliminary talks for a match with us against Rob Berger and Holy Schmidt. Yes, we'll give you details as they come along.
Man,
Hey,
okay.
so I'm glad to have my good friend Joe here again. And for those guys, I mean, I'm sure most of you know his channel by now, but it's Joe Kuhn Loves Retirement. And Joe has been, like I've said many times on this channel and in our compilation videos, Joe has been a big inspiration for me. Even before I retired, I was watching his channel for great advice. And what I really like about it is he's giving his life story, the ups, the downs. And for those of you who don't watch him, please go subscribe to Joe's channel. Lots of good information on there. And Joe, how long you been doing it now?
6.5 years, man. It's been a while.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm going to be, I'm about 2.5 right now, but I hope to get where you're at someday.
Yeah.
So guys, today what we're going to be talking about is the difference between single versus married retirement. And, there's a lot of similarities, but obviously there's a lot of differences when it comes to planning and just living out the day-to-day retirement. So we're going to go from there, and we might throw a couple wild cards in there for an extra bonus as ideas as time allows. So Joe, what do you think in your experience as a married man? First of all, how long you been married?
37 years
Wow, congratulations.
to the
That's
same
amazing.
person.
Oh, wow. Okay. I had my spare notes over here just in case you had 4 wives. So what is, in your experience, do you think there's one major difference, or do you want to just, spew out like 3 or 4 you can come off at the top of your head?
Yeah, well, when you're married, you're always thinking about the other. For example, a simple decision like when to take Social Security. Well, I'm thinking about, well, what if I die early or she dies early, say at 72? Well, that
Right.
Social Security check, you want to be as big as you can. So, because you've established your lifestyle off two checks. I
Right.
get a check, and then my wife gets spousal benefits. But when one of you dies, you lose the spousal benefit. So I want that other benefit to be as high as possible.
Right.
Statistically, I'm going to be the one that dies first. So I'm trying to protect my wife. That's one of the bigger things. The second thing associated with that is I handle all the long-term planning, all the long-term finances, all the buckets, where the money's invested, and I transfer the money to the checking account, and then she kind of manages the month.
Oh, okay.
So, my wife has no interest in learning all the rules, all the
Yeah.
withdrawal. She has no interest in that at all.
Yeah.
Roth conversions, taxes. So I've actually set up a financial advisor that I don't pay anything now, but I set him up that for my wife to call if I die. So I die, this person knows my plan, knows what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, and he's going to take it and then go with it because my wife just doesn't want to manage it. And,
That's great.
that's so I kind of tried to solve that problem. Also, one of the things, and this is the last thing I'll add,
No,
is
take your time,
yeah,
however
if
much you
you're
want.
both, I just looked this up right before this recording, is if both of you are 65, you have a 50% chance of one of you making it to 90. And you have a
Okay.
25%, roughly 25, I think is what it said, of one of you making it to 95. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
So when you're planning for a single, you may put an 85 in there in your planning, an 87. But if there's two of you, you got to plan a little bit longer. Also, those statistics are based on the average US population.
Right.
So I try to eat right. I exercise. I do all my preventative work with the doctor. I've never smoked. I don't drink. So maybe will be skewed a little bit to a higher number. So when you're dealing with two, my point is good chance one of you is going to live a little bit longer. So you have to
Right.
plan for a little longer.
Right. And the probability is, like you said, it's the female that will
Yeah.
live longer. I just read something yesterday about the aging population in Japan. You know, there is a lot more people living to over 100, but 88% of those living over 100 are female.
Yeah. Okay.
88%. I mean, that's crazy. So yeah, I hear what you're talking about. I mean, as a single man. Now, let me clarify this. I've been with my girlfriend for 22 years now. We are in a committed relationship. We have never broken up, separated, whatever you want to call it. But I have my retirement. She's still working, hopefully to retire in the next year or so. She has her retirement. Okay. So I think the one major difference, and it's a positive as far as I'm concerned, is that, for instance, in my case, sequence of returns risk just hammered me 6 months into retirement. But you know what? I'm only looking over for myself. So if things go wrong, not could be sequence of returns, could be anything. You as one person, it's easier to tighten that budget, you
Yeah.
know, because I mean, my budget's pretty flexible as it is. I mean, if I need to cut back, I can. There's some space there, which again, for my normal viewers, it's like you need to create a budget where you have some flexibility in it, because you never know. Retirement is an extension of life.
Yeah.
Things happen in
Yeah.
retirement you're not planned for. So I think the
Yeah.
biggest difference is it's just you. If I had to subsist on Snickers and water for 2 months, I mean, it's not going to be great for my health, but I could do it. It's just me, you know. So I think that's the number one thing. There's also a couple other things. It's like, this could be debated, because in the married case, you've got two salaries. Well, not always, but in most cases, let's just say 50% of cases, you might have two Social Security checks. But I think if you're a single person, it's easier to retire early, because again, you only have yourself to worry about, right? You've only got a certain amount to save for you. What do
Yeah.
you think?
Oh, I think you're absolutely right. Most of my long-term thinking, especially if somebody dies, not only is you lose half your Social Security, but you lose you're filing taxes as a single in all your plans, whereas as a couple, absolutely, absolutely. I am trying in my plans to make my wife's life comfortable after I pass. If
Right.
I if it was just me, I'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll be fine. If I don't want her to pass first, but if she passes and I have to live on half the income and buy a mobile home, and I'm fine. That's
Yeah.
just. But I've promised her, and this is my old school upbringing. Is my job is to provide.
Yeah.
And if it's just for myself, I have a different level of provision than if it's for my wife.
Yeah. And you know
So
what? Later in life, I mean, let's say you're 85. Okay. Let's say, God forbid, your money is almost run out in retirement. Is it really going to make that big of a difference? I mean, okay, let's say now if you are in like a bad health situation, yes, it could make a lot of difference. But let's say a normal 85-year-old who's slowing down, is it going to make that big a difference if you have $4,000 a month or 2,500 a month to live on?
yeah, right. No, you're exactly right. There's so many people, I've made videos on this, and they say every time they say, "Hey, I know my aunt or the neighbor down the street, they're 85 and they go to Europe for 3 months every year, and then they go to
Yeah.
Hawaii. They got a second home over there. They're living this active lifestyle."
Yeah.
That's anecdotal evidence. You look at the lion's share of people, 9 out of 10, and it's probably 19 out of 20 people that
Yeah.
are 85, they could live on Social Security. And that's what I'm prepared for. All my decisions are, hey, once I hit 85, Lisa and I, is Social Security. We can survive on that. And that's one of the reasons, being married, I want to push my Social Security timing to 70. So it's maxed out. So if Armageddon happens,
Yeah.
we've got the maximum Social Security, and then if one person dies after that, it's kind of an emergency plan for me, and that's just how I think being married.
Yeah. You know, another difference I think is that, and I have I've realized this for in my relationship for the last 10 to 15 years. If I wanted to move someplace, my girlfriend, her house is paid off. All of her family lives within like a 2 mile radius of where she lives. She's never going to move.
Yeah,
Okay. So I think the freedom as now see, here's the difference because I am single, but I'm kind of quasi single, you know.
yeah,
But if I was single, totally single, it would be like if you wanted to move someplace, boom, you know, you get prepared, you're ready to move, and boom, you're out the door, right?
yeah.
But trying to get that your significant other to agree to that, I think that's a big difference. Have you ever thought about, you know, relocating?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I haven't thought about relocating. I got a lot of family around here too, and it's we got a lot of friends, we got a lot of community I'm involved with. But we need to have a special segment inside of all these videos we make of where I screwed up,
Yeah.
things I did wrong,
Hey, that could
and
be 3 videos.
yeah, yeah, we'll have to go an hour.
Yeah.
But when you're married and or you have a partner, you have to agree on what your plan of retirement is. And
Yeah.
so here was my screw up. Okay. I retired pretty early. I was 54, but all my planning, 100% was on making sure I had enough money.
Right.
And then, well, I should say 90%. I had enough money, and the 10% I wanted to do consulting in my area of expertise, reliability and maintenance. Okay, so
Yeah.
that was what I was thinking, and my wife just said, "Are we going to have enough money?" And I said, "Yeah, we got enough money." So that was the extent of it. Then I retired, and she expected 7 days a week would be just like the weekends when I was working. And the
Oh, yeah,
weekends
yeah,
were
yeah.
like, we did things together on Saturday, we did things together as a family on Sunday, and we're just going to do that 7 days a week. Well, on Monday, I had stuff I wanted to do. I
Yeah.
was doing some
Yes.
consulting, I was doing some reading, some exercising, I was
Yeah.
doing things with my friends, and it was like, we had a little bit of an argument about that, that she just expected, and it was my fault. Well, I guess 50-50. We should have said, okay, what's an average Monday, Tuesday going to look like? What are you thinking?
Right.
So that's the only advice
Right.
I'll give on my channel is talk to your spouse 6 months ahead of time. We talked a little bit about traveling, but not just your average Tuesday. Just what are you going to do in the morning?
Right.
Are you going to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner together every day and go on a walk in the morning and a walk in the evening?
Yeah.
Is that, so my wife's vision of an average day was different than mine. We worked that out in about 2 weeks.
Oh, that's good. That's
when
good.
when she figured out she didn't want to be with me 24/7.
Yeah. Hey, I hear you on that. But you know what? That's a great point to bring up because, you know, a lot of people don't think about it going into retirement. You know, I mean, like you just said, 90% financial. All the other aspects, like, well, you know, you think, okay, now with me and my significant, not, I'm not talking about me, but in general, if I would come home from work, we would have maybe 4 or 5 hours together, you know, not always together, but doing things in the same house. Don't you think that's going to change if it turns to 24/7?
Oh
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
but people don't think about that. They really don't. And here's another, I think I don't know if it's a special circumstance between me being single and me being married. I am so lucky. Honey, if you're watching this, thank you so much that she has allowed me to live up here in the high desert for a couple weeks a month. And then I come down and see her a couple weeks a month. That I know a lot of people don't have that. So if I didn't have this place up here, I would be living with her. It would be more like a married retirement, you know, even though we're not married.
yeah.
So there's a lot of honey. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, I think another thing, what about budgeting? I mean, because I think obviously if it's just for me as a single retiree, It's easy. This is how much I spend. This is how much comes in. This is how much I want to save, even before you retire. Just budgeting in general is so easy because you're only looking out for your own tastes, your own expenses. How hard? Well, you've been married for 37 years, so I'm sure you got it nailed down. But was that hard for you to come up with a retirement budget with your wife involved?
I'll say it wasn't hard, but there's a change that happens. Okay. And I know, you retired in 2022 was a tough year for me too. But my wife, when we were married and I was working, if we decided to go on a nice vacation or remodel a room of the house or buy a new car, we just kind of did it because we were living below our means. I had money in the bank, no problem. But when you're retired and then 2022 happens, my investments were in my bucket 3, my long-term growth bucket, were down 30%. I mean, it was a big
Wow.
number.
Yeah.
It was a
Yeah.
big number.
Yeah.
And I had to tell my wife, hey, we can't buy, or we were looking at doing a kitchen remodel and some windows. And I said,
Yeah.
let's not do that this year.
Right.
And here's why. And that was really one of the first times I had to do that.
Right.
We both grew up very modestly. I lived in an 800 square foot house when I grew up with my, 2 brothers and sisters. And, we just lived below our means all the time. I didn't know I was middle class. I didn't know if I was upper, or lower middle class. Didn't have any idea. I never worried about food or anything like that. So we don't splurge on things. The best evidence I, have of that is I still drive a 2012 minivan with 200,000 miles on it. I don't,
Wow, good for
it's
you.
just, I could buy a new car, but this one works.
Yeah,
And my
I've got to.
wife, her parents, actually came over from, Germany after World War II. They were immigrants after the war, and he worked like 5 jobs. So we didn't come from money, and
Yeah.
so we both have been pretty frugal, and we buy, if we want it, we think about it for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then we're not impulsive.
Yeah.
So the main thing that I've noticed as a change from my 32 years of working was, hey, if the economy does something dramatic, we actually make a change. I actually
Right.
say now's not the right time.
Right.
And it's really only been 2022 that I had to do that.
Oh, okay.
The COVID drop in 2020 went down and up so fast, I didn't have any time
Yeah.
to react.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what I will say is, why didn't I have enough time to react is, I don't look at my budget spending in an individual month. My wife and I
Okay.
know each other so well. We actually, for the first 6 years I've been retired, it's once a quarter, because we
Okay.
may have an expense in, say, January. Say we went to Alaska in January. Don't know why you'd go to Alaska in January, but we went to Alaska and had an expensive trip. Well, then you don't want to look at your budget and go, oh my gosh, we
Yeah.
spent too
Yeah.
much. And then it's down in February and March. So
Yeah.
we've gotten to know each other and our spending habits so well. I moved that to once a quarter. Well, just this year, I'm just looking at it every 6 months,
Oh,
because
great.
it
Okay.
kind of knocks out those spikes, which ends up being a discussion I have with my wife. And then it really was a meaningless discussion because things kind of leveled out. Neither one of
Yeah.
us go out and spend a lot of money on things.
Yeah. I don't know if you do this, but it's like I have gotten to the point with my budget where I kind of know, even without looking at it, you can feel if like on a day-to-day basis, it's like, okay, here's where I am. You kind of just, it's like a sixth sense in the back. Is it sixth or fifth sense? How many senses do we have? 5?
Five, five.
Okay, 6. It's a sixth sense. It's like you're looking at it, kind of in the back of your mind. It's like, okay, I'm doing okay this month. I can buy this. Or it could be like, you've already spent a lot of money this month. You better cut back. So it's kind of like in an innate sense that you just get after a while, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so the title of this video, even though we're shooting it now, and I haven't told you this yet, Joe, is going to be single versus married retirement. Which one's better? You know what? Hey, it is such an individual basis kind of thing,
Yeah.
especially for someone who's been married for 37 years as you have. I've never been married. So which one is better? It depends,
Yeah.
right? It all
Yeah.
comes down to whether you're single or married, as long as you are happy, and also another thing is like what, I'm sure you got this too, Joe, for the retirement for the YouTube channel. Oh, you're not really retired. You
Yeah.
know what? It's your retirement. You
Yeah.
do however you want to do it. Who cares what people think? The older I've gotten, it's like the less I care what people think.
Yeah.
To me, as long as you're retired from like a full-time job, you're retired. Whatever else you want to do on top of that, good for you. Who cares what
Yeah.
people think?
Yeah, you got to do something with your time. And I'll come back to your first question, which one is better?
Okay.
Uh, I like I said earlier is, I've never walked in your shoes, as a single person, but I would think that going through a retirement married is a little bit harder because you got to be so much better with communication and understanding.
Yes.
Other than that, they may be the pros and cons may be about the same, but you need to be better at communication.
Oh,
Uh,
I exactly. It's like I'm up here on my own for a couple of weeks. I mean, I'm not even wearing pants now. I can do whatever I want.
yeah, yeah. You're
That's why
not
it's like,
wearing pants.
don't go up. Don't go up. Yeah, I hear you, man. It's just when I'm up here on my own, it's like, hey, I got stuff thrown all over the place. But that changes when I go back to her place. It's her place and I get it and I respect that. It's your place. You do however you want to do it. So I
Yeah.
get that.
You mentioned, everybody's definition of retirement is a little bit different. And I probably get a comment a day that says, "Hey, you're not really retired. You're working." And what people miss, if you're not on this side of the hill of being retired, you realize you've got to spend your time doing something. You got
Yeah.
24 hours in the day. You're not tired from work. You're not commuting to work. You're not thinking about work. What are you going to do? And retirement, if the definition is I'm going to sit on my couch and watch TV, that's retirement. Or sit in
Right.
my lawn chair out back and sip on a beer. That's retirement. I don't want that. That's not what I'm doing. I'm 61 years old. I haven't had the TV on in like 2 days. I
Yeah.
watch far less TV than I did when I was working because I'm not as tired.
Right. Right.
So it takes me about an hour to make a video. When I'm making them, that's to create an outline and to edit I don't edit the video, but to upload it, do everything takes me about an hour. I did 3 of them in 2 hours last week, but it's a neat little hobby. I like the coaching aspect of it. That's something I loved about my job and something I wanted to bring into retirement. I like helping people. And if I
Yeah.
could help people with my experience in retirement or with reliability and maintenance, I mentor a guy that's going to call me in like an hour. He's not paying me or anything. I'm just talking to him about being a plant manager at a plant. He runs a small plant and he just wants somebody to bounce ideas off of. You got to spend your time doing something.
Yeah.
And it gives me fulfillment. It's fun. I get to meet really neat people. Hey, what last thing I'll say, and I'll let you finish up here, is bald people have a sixth sense. So it's on retirement. We know a lot more about retirement than the average person.
I like that. I like that. Thank you. I'm glad you said that because some people are gonna go, run away. Hey, okay. Did you ever watch any of the Monty Python movies?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The
You
search
get
for the
this.
Holy Grail.
Then you get that. Okay, because I know some of my viewers they're gonna be going, huh? What the heck was that, man? This guy get him back in his meds.
The
Okay,
Life of
so
Brian and The Search for the Holy Grail are 2 of them that I remember.
oh my God, they're my favorite. I just recently got the whole box set of the complete, however many seasons they had on TV. I mean, and it's huge. It's like this big, thick
Oh yeah.
thing. But anyway, thanks for the heads up. That was our signal to all you viewers. That means we're almost out of time. So Joe, thanks again so much. This is our 4th episode. And hey, my viewers and Joe's viewers that are watching this, If you guys like it, we'll continue to do it as long as you want us to do it. You know, so far the results have been pretty good. And Joe, anything else you want to say before we get off?
I would say a lot of our content on this joint video comes from the comments. So if you got
Yes.
something you want us to talk about and something you want us to argue about, disagree with, you know, or we attack it from a different perspective, let us know in the comments.
Great. And as always, to my normal viewers and to everyone out there in the whole darn world who's watching this, even those Holy Schmidt and Rob Berger fans, we got this.
All right. Thanks. Talk to you later.
Hi, Joe.